Hello, Dr. Perez and anyone else watching. This is Andrew Schrader. This is my project on analyzing mass media, taking a look at a couple ads from a popular magazine and applying sociological principles. So the magazine that I chose was Time, specifically an issue called the Answers issue that was released in mid-September of last year. Um, Now, Time was a little tricky because anyone and everyone can read Time, but the reason that I chose it is because when I personally think of someone reading Time, I think of someone who falls somewhere between young and middle age, and then also falls between middle and upper class typically. But the most important reason that I chose Time magazine is when I picture someone reading Time magazine, I picture a person who's knowledgeable about technology and things that are going on in the world and kind of what their place is and what they can do to make the world a little bit better. So that's essentially why I chose Time, and we'll dive a little bit more into that in a couple of minutes. So here are the four ads that we're going to be taking a look at. They're a little obscured, but we'll take a closer look at each one of them. We'll start with this one from Shell here. So this first ad from Shell shows three young people working on an idea for a vehicle that gets excellent gas mileage. Actually, according to the caption, this vehicle that they made gets 2,471 miles per gallon, which is awesome. So a few characteristics of this advertisement that target that young audience or that young Time readership are that the people working on the vehicle are also young, and this can inspire younger readers of Time that they can make a difference in the world. There's no reason to wait until you're older to start making a difference in your community. And the second characteristic of this ad that targets that young audience is that this isn't always true, but usually young people are somewhat knowledgeable on what's going on in the world. In this case, those young people in the ad are in the know about fuel conservation. They know that we need to do what we can to conserve the natural gases that we have left. As far as messages that this ad sends about young people, the main thing is essentially, it's a little bit repetitive, but the main message that this ad shows about young people is that young people aren't like the young people of decades and years past. They're not apathetic and rebellious. Instead, they know what's going on around them. They're taking action to better their community and even better the world. So that's the Shell ad. That's a couple characteristics and messages there. Second ad here is Straight Talk Wireless. So some characteristics of this ad. It appears to target like the middle class readers of Time. It shows a man holding a cutout where a phone should be and saying you can cut your phone bill in half. So the characteristic of the ad that seems to target that middle class audience is the opportunity to save money. That's not to say that everybody doesn't want to save money, but it seems to be aimed at those people who need to save money more. The message that this ad sends about that group of middle-class people is that they want to save money, but they don't necessarily want to look like they need to. To expand on that, the man in the ad is very well-dressed. He looks calm, cool, collected. He doesn't look poor at all, but at the same time, he's utilizing those benefits that switching to Straight Talk can give him. So essentially, the message that the ad sends is that the middle class people can save money and not look poor at the same time. So ad number 3 here is from Citibank. This ad shows a traffic jam along the bottom, and then a person holding a phone with an app showing where available parking is, which is pretty cool. So the group that this ad targets are those technologically savvy readers of Time magazine. It shows an app that people can use to avoid traffic jams, and that'll appeal to most of those readers of Time who know what apps are, how to use them, how to get them, etc. The message that this ad sends about those tech-savvy readers is that they essentially know how to use technology to avoid inconveniences in life, and if you utilize Citi or you switch to Citi, not sure exactly what the phrasing for that should be, then Citi can help you kind of stay in the loop as far as that that technology goes as well. So here's the last ad. The last ad is from Capital One. It shows a photo of the Grand Canyon with a caption that says, it's against the amount of waiting that someone has to do to see something they want to see because of their lack of reward miles on their credit card. So this ad seems to target the middle-aged readers of Time magazine because it kind of subtly hints at the fact that by the time the person writing the caption gets to see the Grand Canyon, he or she will be too old to truly experience it. Now, that's nothing against old people. It's just saying, I don't want to wait 20 more years to go see the Grand Canyon. I want to see it now. I've already been waiting. The message that this ad sends about middle-aged people is essentially that it conveys that they want to use their typically fairly comfortable situation in life, and they want to kind of break out of that comfort zone and scratch everything they can off of their bucket list, which I don't blame them for. I want to do that too. So let's go ahead and jump on to those 5 principles of sociology that we're applying to these ads. Number 1 here is co-presence, and I'm using the shell ad for this one. So essentially, co-presence is interaction in person instead of just electronic interaction. So the shell ad does a good job of showing how, in some scenarios, the experience of working and communicating together in person can be replaced by electronic communication. So these young people could call each other on the phone and video chat to finish this project, but it wouldn't be as gratifying, wouldn't be as hands-on of an experience. So this is why co-presence applies to this situation that's happening in the shell ad. Without being actually together in the same room, they wouldn't be able to experience this project in a meaningful way. Second term or principle is expressions of behavior. So these are essentially expressions, verbal or nonverbal, that are given by someone which help define the situation. So, for example, the gentleman here in the Straight Talk wireless ad is giving an expression of kind of confidence. He's very cool. He's well dressed, and this will influence readers, or at least show them that even though he's switched to Straight Talk, he hasn't lost any service. He's happy about the money that he's saved. So it's kind of a subtle way to show readers that if they switch to Straight Talk, everything is going to be okay. Number 3 here is technological change. So when it comes to culture, technology is considered anything actually like material or physical that furthers a society. So in this case, the technology is the phone that the person is using and the app that's helping them find parking. So City is essentially making changes to literal technology, in this case, that are making people's lives easier. And that's why this ad exemplifies technological change. So number 4 here we have values. So for values, I use the Capital One ad with the Grand Canyon. A commonly shared value among people is the desire to experience the world. And Capital One capitalizes, pardon the pun, on that value or that desire that people have by essentially evoking sympathy and making the reader think, well, I don't want to wait 20 more years to go where I want to go. And by appealing to those values, Capital One is able to draw readers in and hopefully make them apply for their venture card. Okay, last one here. We have agents of socialization and peers specifically. So an agent of socialization is a force that affects the way we socialize and eventually the person we become. So peers are one of those agents of socialization. And it can be, that agent of socialization, can be very effective when influencing young people. Undoubtedly, these young people spend the majority of their time socializing among their peers, among other young people. So it's reasonable to think that this communication between those peers is at least partially responsible for the decision that they made to take part in Shell's experiment. So if they weren't hanging out with the young people that they are hanging out with, they may not have decided to take part in this experiment. So these peers are acting as agents of socialization for each other in drawing each other towards making this difference in their environment. So in conclusion, we covered these 4 apps. We talked to, excuse me, not apps. I had that city parking app in my head. We covered these 4 ads, and we took a look at how they appealed to different aspects of socialization, and what messages were sent about specific groups of people by these ads, and what groups of people these ads appealed to. So that's just about it. Excuse all the verbal missteps that I made in this presentation. I hope everything's up to par, and I will see you or talk to you soon, I suppose.